The following was recorded in front of a live studio audience at the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe. This is the United Podcast Network.
If you're building or buying or selling a home, the Real Estate Crew's got news for you at the Real Estate House Party.
With attorney Rick Carter,
Real Estate House Party.
paralegal Kathy Holtshouser,
Real Estate House Party. Come in, have fun.
and comedian Tony V. Now, here's real estate attorney Rick Carter.
Welcome and thanks for joining us on the Real Estate House Party. I'm actually exhausted. We've had like 3 shows before we even started the show.
So much information.
We had a lot of information. I hope the studio audience enjoyed it all.
Yeah.
Rick called me this morning on my way to work, and he was just rattling.
I know.
He must have been up all night, and he was rattling off all these
Marketing plans.
marketing ideas. And then he finally, after like a half hour of his soliloquy, he said, "Is this too much
Too soon
for you this early?" I says, "Yes, it is."
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Yeah.
I'll
Thank
talk
you
to
for
you later.
asking.
Bye
Thank you for
bye.
asking.
I tuned out after, hi, this is Rick.
No, I'm always interested in what he has to say
How
until
did you know that?
until it just goes.
No, you're
on
never
and
interested in what
on.
I say. What'd you tell me the other day? You only listen to me from 8:30 to 2 for now
Yeah,
on?
yeah. At 2:30,
I can't call on weekends.
out.
Anything early, I can't call.
Sure.
Anything
No,
afterwards.
you do call me on the weekend,
I
and
know,
I
and
have
you
to
ignore me.
pick and choose if I'm going to answer that
Of
phone.
course. I love when you get calls now and people go, hey, I called you. You didn't call me back. Yeah.
That's a
Yeah, I did. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know why you got me
Yeah,
now.
I don't know. Right. There's a reason for that. Yeah.
So we have Carrie Cole on today.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
let's give an introduction to Carrie Cole. So when we did our radio show years ago,
Long time ago.
we
Radio was a thing.
radio.
Back,
I was
back-
only
Yes.
5.
It was right after the Telegraph.
Back
and,
in the 09.
the Morse,
Yeah.
right? Exactly.
Morse code,
So we had a couple suspect guests on. I think she came on right after we had the guest on that brought in the manual that day.
Oh,
and
God,
wanted
that
to go
guy.
over the data for the Essex County.
Yeah.
Wait, I don't remember
Yeah,
that.
that's how long, because you weren't there.
Yeah, once he
then
saw
was-
me blowing
was
my
Carrie-
nose on his pie chart, that went right out the window.
Or didn't you sit on his
I
book?
sat on his book.
Because he was relentless. He kept trying to give you the
Give me the
manual.
manual, yeah.
And you wanted to go over in the
Yeah.
half hour, and you
Yeah.
finally took it and sat on it.
Well, that's where I do all my best thinking down there. Yeah.
So
I've been told for many years my brains are in my ass, and I thought I'd put them to
I
work.
said, oh my God. So this is where we're headed with this show. So
Right.
then we brought
You
the
know what
next
that
one-
reminds me of?
What's
Is
that?
when you were little and you went to get your hair cut.
Oh,
And they used
the
to
booster.
do you
Yeah, they take a
remember
phone
they
book.
used to take the phone book
Phone book.
Yeah.
and prop you up so that you
Yeah.
would be tall enough
That's
for them
when we
to
had
cut
phone
you.
books. Yeah.
That's right.
I had some relatives that needed to drive around on the phone book there. They were a little short.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Who, your mother?
Yeah. I always knew when my mother was driving the other way, there'd be 25 cars behind her because she was so slow. She's the only one who ever got pulled over going slow in town.
We used to look out the window in 248 Main Street, or was it? Yeah, 248 Main Street, the old building.
Yeah.
And then we'd see this huge line of traffic, and Rick would go,
Here it comes.
"What kind of
it's my
car
mother."
is in the
Yeah.
front?"
All my friends were coming. I saw your mother. I know, in the middle of the square. I know. So
Climbing out the side window, the passenger door window.
one time I went over a loading dock.
Yeah.
And it hit the front of the. I don't know how we started this. We went over a loading
we
dock.
do it every time.
Hit the front of the car.
Yeah.
And pushed it back. And you couldn't tell there was any issue with the car at all, other than the doors could no longer open.
You jammed the door.
But then the
jammed-
window didn't work in the driver's seat, right? So did
No,
she
the
have
window
to-
did work
Did
there.
she have to climb out the passenger seat?
Oh, no,
though?
I would not do that to her.
I think that's what you told me.
I think
Sounds
she
like the
got
Dukes
to.
of Hazzard. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
yeah. She used to go through the
window.
drive. Yeah,
I don't
the
think it
window.
was quite like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Well,
I just got a visual.
They kind of bounced in and out. My mother wasn't bouncing out.
well, it was just about then the old Duke boys didn't realize, but old Boss Hogg had a little trick of his own up his sleeve. It seemed from one end of town there was a tar
Wow.
truck, and on the other end there was a truckload of feathers. And when they met in the middle, boy, did the feathers fly.
How long you been waiting to tell that one?
I always have that one on simmer.
That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You must be like an actor or
something like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
Something
You're going back to Aruba too.
I'm going back to Aruba.
When are you going back next week?
Next week, the week after that, and
maybe a couple weeks after
maybe a
that.
couple weeks after
right.
that. Aruba needs to be entertained, and I have to be the one to do
Who are
it.
you going to be with? You're going to be at Ray's place, but
Yeah,
you got any other?
Aruba Rays.
And anyone else with you? Christine Hurley?
Christine Hurley,
Yay.
Lenny Clark, Jimmy Dunn, and I will overlap a day or so.
So you're going to be the name. You're the main guy down there.
I'll be there for
out of
the
those
headliner.
They
four.
call them the headliners.
Headliners.
Out of those four.
Yeah, no, well,
Oh.
Are you the
no,
headliner?
that's the thing about Aruba Rays. It's all headliners, so we will swap around.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Jimmy will
nice.
close the show. I'll close the show. Lenny will close the show.
It must be terrible to go
It's
to
awful.
Aruba and have to work.
Don't let me get into the whole pants
I
issue.
know.
2 hours a day I have to wear pants.
2 hours a
2
day
hours a
or
day.
2 hours?
No, you don't.
At night.
I thought it was only 40 minutes.
I know what happened.
Well, no, I mean for the length of the show.
Oh, okay.
I don't go do my setting in immediate, because I have
Yes,
to
you
glad
Drop your pants.
But as soon as the show's over, as soon as we're done glad handing,
Then his pants
the pants
drop.
come right up.
So anyway,
Yes.
we had a couple of those guests, and then we brought Carrie on. And she was a natural at this.
Yeah, she
So
got it.
I am
She
so
gets it.
surprised
Yeah.
it's taken us like 5 years to get her back.
Right. And are you in the same business?
I am.
Yeah.
I am, but I'm merging out a little bit.
Merging
Yeah.
out a little bit.
Branching
Just
out.
finished my first year of law school.
No
Yeah.
kidding.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You're
So
gonna-
will you become a real estate attorney?
I will not.
What will you? what
And
sort
it's
of,
not because they're not fabulous.
what
no.
sort of law will you practice?
Elder and
Elder?
estate
Oh,
law.
nice.
Yeah, I want to
Oh,
work with my peers. you
Very,
know?
very necessary.
Yeah.
It's a good
Yeah.
calling. Yeah,
Yeah.
good work.
Yeah, I like working with the seniors.
Yeah.
And you.
We
know-
need help. I'm a senior.
Well, we established that,
Yeah,
right? We
I
all
actually-
are,
yeah.
basically. Well, not you, but
I'm almost.
Yeah.
You know, if you do become a real estate attorney, you don't learn anything in law school that helps you for
Oh,
this
yeah.
profession.
Yeah, but I
Nothing.
think, but I know your world because I'm on the other end
Yeah, right.
and I'm asking and we're working together
Right,
to get
right.
deals closed.
When my parents were aging and, we needed help, we went to an elder estate attorney, and they were remarkable. So
Yeah.
it's
You do
it's
have to
good
do
work.
it.
You
Yeah,
have to do it.
And it goes hand in hand with financial planning,
Right.
right?
Of
So
course
if you're
it
going to
does.
plan for your retirement, you're going to plan for your finances, you're going to plan on where you're going to live and how much
Yeah.
it's going to cost.
Right.
and it's amazing how much we, as a real estate law office, doesn't know about that
Right,
world. We
right.
know how to read a will, and we know,
right.
but to
Deal with Medicare issues.
Well, to-
and-
Well, the
guide
applications for
them.
mass health.
and to protect people, because there are predators
exactly.
out there who mess with old people all the time because they can.
But not
Yeah.
only that, it's like protecting all the, being in real estate, you see people lose their largest asset because
Right.
it wasn't protected
Right.
properly.
Right.
You could be working at GE for, 40 years,
Yeah.
get a nice retirement, but get fall and become
Right.
ill.
Right. And for the most part, we've talked about this a whole lot on this show, is that someone's house is
Their
their biggest asset.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you got to protect that.
Yeah,
Right.
that's right.
Yeah, from like losing it in poker games.
And then you get the kids that want it, right?
Right.
And then you
Right.
get into that whole
The whole
situation.
beef,
Like
yeah.
I just finished my estate planning with a great attorney out of the Cummings Center in Beverly, and he basically said, if one of your two children contest this, they're out.
They're out, right.
Done.
Oh, boy.
I'm like, I
if
love
they
that.
Oh,
clause.
contest it, they're out.
Out.
Oh, I
what do you
love
mean
that.
out? Like cut
Meaning-
out of the will?
Yep.
Yeah.
So based on what I've done, which is pretty detailed,
Right.
I'm a single mom now,
Even
so I need to
Steven,
protect.
all the way around.
What's that?
Even with your kids. How many kids?
Just two.
Just two. Yeah.
But if one of them says, I don't know why mom did that,
Right.
I'm going to contest it in court.
yeah. Oh.
Oh,
Wouldn't
I
you
need
like to have that law
I need
everywhere?
to
I know.
rewrite my
It's a clause.
will.
You should-
Big fat
This
clause.
your law office should have an ejector seat.
Well, I'm not working in a law office.
So
just yet.
there's no appeal.
Yeah.
Wait, you contested that? Oh, God, see you later.
No, that's a great little paragraph.
Yeah,
that's
I
great.
need to have
We should
mine
have that
redone.
Can I plug
Yeah.
the attorney?
Yeah.
Since you're
go-
not,
Yeah.
Brian DeRocha out of Beverly.
All right, so
Every
what-
time I'm going to be calling him.
So
Nice
what other
man.
tips did he give you other than the ejector seat clause?
Well, I mean, I have a life insurance policy that's term, but I wanted to make sure that
No one ever gets whole insurance.
No.
No.
So I have it through the year 2027, and my kids won't be emancipated until like 25 or whatever the will states as far as education. And I put that into a trust. So I named it into a trust, and I had to put it into a savings account, my funds into a savings account to have it directly withdrew to pay the premium, and then it can be protected 100%. So if it's a $500,000 policy,
Right.
they're not going to tax it.
So-
the full amount goes.
Just so I understand it, a term life insurance means you're betting on making it to a certain age.
Well, basically,
It's like an
Don't.
over-under. If you don't make it,
yeah, there's no equity
no
in
cash
it.
there's no
or
equity,
in it.
So if you outlive the term,
It's just
over.
It's
It's over.
over, and it's okay because it serves a purpose for
to pay off
case-
your mortgage
or your kids
or-
in
Right,
college.
yeah.
they
If you
don't-
die
right.
early, that's
Like
the whole
if my
point.
husband died, I would get it, up until what 2025 or whatever
Right.
the year is.
Is there any clause about early checkout, like the day before? Like you go, look, it's not gonna,
Accidental death.
Yes, there's some clauses on that.
Tony, there's
You might not need any money in jail.
there's other dangers. I'm in the last year
Of yours?
of
Yeah.
my term life,
Yeah.
and I'm keeping an eye on
Yeah.
my wife. If I should pass away this year,
Okay, well,
she'll
She-
get $2 million.
Nice.
So it's in
Yeah,
her
yeah,
interest
sure.
for me
hey, at
to
least
die
it's your
this
wife
year.
and not your ex-husband. You know what
You
I
should
mean?
have the clause in your
I think
will.
my risk factor is a little higher than yours.
Right. Except they
Yeah.
always look at the ex-husband.
Do they?
Yes. They
So-
all, right. He's
My
the first.
ex-husband's a good guy.
So if the
He's
phrase
the first, the spouse.
there's a loose shingle on the roof comes up during
Beware.
a snowstorm,
Beware,
I would take a breath before I went and attacked that.
I'm gonna hire
And
it
don't
out.
forget to bring this rake up to the top of the roof when you do
Hey,
it.
there's a lightning storm. Take this pole.
Ben Franklin says, as long as you have a little key on this,
You'll
you
be
won't have a
fine.
See,
problem.
now this is where we have to cut them
All
off.
right.
No.
And-
All right. So
and
what are
reel
some of the
them back
other
in.
suggestions? Your attorney.
Well, those are the two biggies. I mean, really, there's certain things that I want for my children, so that I've used age as a means of kind of controlling that buffer of the 20 plus something that's just going to go blow it all in Vegas
Right.
versus, putting it towards a
Sure.
business. And so I put some limitations, and it's really a la carte. So it's really dependent on you and your family and your kids, and just hope for the best. But I love that clause, though.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great cause.
The ejector
I
clause.
think, I think
Rick,
my
you-
trust in place has the kids at 31 or 32.
Ooh,
like,
that's old.
yeah.
Yeah, I got 25 in mine.
Yeah. But I wasn't sure what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know what the thought process there
Well,
was.
you know your kids, and maybe they're a little immature.
Maybe.
And the other thing that's good too is like if I were to remarry or my ex-husband were to remarry, all the funds just stay in that lineage. You can make
Right.
sure, and that's pretty
So
customary.
they can't. So he can't marry, like a trophy wife, and then go. By the way,
Right.
she needs a
Right on.
Lamborghini.
Right on.
Right.
Right.
Needs.
Needs.
That's the operative word.
Of course, we all need a Lamborghini.
So yeah, that's pretty much my advice.
Did you
from
put your house in a trust?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did
Yep.
with a homestead, obviously.
Yep.
And
So
you guys
revocable
would
And
too.
trust.
Tony knows what a homestead
I
is.
do.
Yeah.
Can't
And they
lose it in
now
the
allow
poker.
you as a trustee to have a homestead, which they didn't before.
Oh,
So
now
that's-
you can do that.
Yeah.
That's
So if
good.
you're a trustee of the property.
Yeah.
So
I have a thing, and this is sort of tangentially. It's an actual question.
Yeah.
My taxes in Boston have skyrocketed.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
like crazy.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm trying to mitigate them as much as possible.
Yep.
So they give you like the old guy,
Yeah.
discount
Oh, yeah.
or
senior,
whatever.
yep.
Yeah, whatever it is. And then I go, it's still too high, So I go in and they say, well, we can come out and
Ooh.
reassess your house.
Ooh.
No.
This is what I'm asking. Don't do it. Good.
No way.
I'll fucking tear that paperwork right up.
There he did it. He just did it,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
He said the F word.
Yeah.
No way.
Don't do it.
No.
So you're asking for an abatement, right?
Yes.
Abatement, right.
Yeah.
I asked for once, and they gave me $200 off, so I'm only paying $16.
But they devalued your house.
Yeah.
They
No.
came up with a formula. No,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
said it's actually worth. Yeah,
They're
don't-
not
So
going
don't
to
do it.
devalue
But
your
it's
house.
like the old adage, right? The bank thinks your house looks like a shack.
Right.
Right? Have
Yeah.
you seen those
Yeah.
little cartoons?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think your house looks like a mansion.
Yeah.
Right.
The
And then
appraiser
the
will tell you.
appraiser-
Well, because I do that when they go, well, where do you live? And I go, Charlestown. They always go, oh.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which was
yeah.
never said about Charlestown until, the
Yeah,
last
recently,
15
right.
years.
Yeah.
But so if they devalue the house, does that hurt me when I go to sell it?
No.
No.
But they're not going to come out and devalue
They're
it.
never going to devalue your house.
Because they're going to go comps.
A good realtor's not, some people as realtors think that the assessment is a direct, correspondence.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
is
but it's
absolutely
not.
not.
Kathy
Absolutely
knows
not.
this.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I
You
agree.
had
An
explained that to
assessment-
one of our comedian friends, but go ahead.
Right. An assessment is what the town thinks
It's worth.
it's
Right.
worth based on
For
like
taxes.
But it could be have an equalizer in there.
Right.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's not necessarily more times than not is not your market value or your appraised
Okay,
value.
so
That's
the
only
sh-
6 months.
Right,
It's only
right.
a 6 month.
So the short answer is don't do it.
Well, what do they assess your property at now?
1.4.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it.
All right, I'm not doing it.
I mean, especially when they find out it's you and you're
Yeah.
a celebrity.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then it really goes up there. They're going to think
Well,
you're deep
Sure,
pockets.
there's a value to that.
Because the last time they did an assessment was when?
I don't know.
Probably a couple of years ago.
Years ago.
It was
Probably
1.4
several years ago.
is up there.
Well, if you-
but it's
Right.
probably worth more
It's
now.
right.
It's worth
no,
way more now.
then
Yeah.
I
And
would
if you
Even on Zillow, it's worth.
pay your
Wow.
damn taxes.
All right, that's all I'm asking.
Zillow's not anything you should
No,
completely use as a.
no.
Yeah.
We know they're
Yeah.
terrible.
You're a World
Yeah.
War II vet, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, so you can
You
get
must
probably
have.
something
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anyone
Yeah,
call
I fought
you?
in the Battle of the Bulge.
Okay.
Yeah, right now I'm winning the Battle of the Bulge. Right now I'm-
I love that he can say that with a straight face. Like,
Right now I am winning the Battle of the
Because
Bulge.
I'm looking at him, like, is he going to crack? Is he going to crack?
Have you had anyone asked to sell your house lately?
Every day.
I know.
Every day.
I know.
People
I
knock
get
on your door.
emails.
Yeah, I get emails,
Yeah.
I get calls, I get letters.
Well, I used to live in Newburyport,
Yeah.
and I lived in the bad section, which is
Doesn't-
no
it's
longer.
still a good
Doesn't
section,
exist.
Doesn't
right.
exist
right.
in Newburyport.
Oh, it used to. Crime Street was technically Lime Street. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
not to diss Newburyport, it just shows how far it's come. you
Yeah.
know?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, people would 2004, 5, and 6 just business cards of realtors. On
Yeah,
front
all the
step.
time.
Yeah.
I get it all the time.
All the time.
And I had a guy offer me, some money. I go, nope, it's this. I go, when you get near this number, let me know.
Yeah.
All right, give me a call.
Now, would you ever move from your house and go into a 55 and over development?
Well, you're
No,
asking the wrong person because he's not moving from his house.
no, because I'm afraid I would fit in. Although if I went now, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I could rule.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you'd be
You
fine.
would be the king.
I
You
would be the king.
yeah.
I would
People
rule.
would pay good money.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Anything that needs to be done, they'd say,
Yeah.
you have to go see Tony V
Yeah,
about
Tony
And
that.
then you look on the activities for the
Right.
week, and at 7:00 every night, Tony V is
Yeah.
entertaining
Yeah,
guests.
oh,
like,
yeah. Oh,
No, but you probably wouldn't entertain every night. You'd put down a rule that you know.
not every night.
Not every
Yeah.
night.
No, but you would have your posse of friends
You
that
could just
laugh at
shuffleboard.
you.
I think I've said this on the show before, but that's my biggest thing. When I work at 55 plus club, in
They
the
don't get your
clubhouses.
jokes?
No, they're my demographic.
Yeah.
And
Oh.
the shows go great.
Yeah.
But it always bums me out when no one says to me, "Can I help you, young man? Do you belong here? You seem lost." I always go, "Hey, how you doing? Come on in."
What's the demographics in Aruba? You get a lot of
It's
all over the place.
all
right?
over the place.
Right,
There's a lot
right.
of honeymooners,
Right,
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people
So how
who've
do
been
you
going
do,
for years.
Your show is pretty
family place.
pretty much across the board, though.
Yeah. I mean, there's something for everybody.
Well,
And
you're
Ray
pretty clean,
Yeah, I
right?
work pretty clean.
Except
unless
for
someone
this
show.
upsets me.
Except for the F word every once in a while.
It's just
Except for the orchid
word.
show.
It's just the words. Words can't hurt you.
No,
Just please,
they
if there's
can't.
one thing I'm going to leave this world fighting for is words don't
Words.
hurt you.
So,
Right.
Rick, in 5 years, would you go to an over 55 community when you turn
Depends.
55?
Depends. I got several years to think about that, but maybe we could ask Carrie what some of the thought processes are. Then there's different 55 and over developments, I would imagine,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes,
I mean, the two most popular reasons why 55 plus is good for a buyer is that they get to age in place. So instead of just downsizing when one day you realize you're an empty nester, then you're like, okay, I don't need this 3,000 square foot house. I'd like 1,800 or maybe 2,100, a couple bedrooms.
And that's still pretty big for two
yeah,
people.
sure, because it's still good for the family to come back, but not to stay too long.
Yeah.
I think that's
Good
what I
point.
right. They can
Yeah.
it can entertain them for the weekend, but after
Oh,
that,
gotta go.
right.
Yep.
And then the other with the aging in place is the single level living option. So a lot of people, they don't want to necessarily go to a community like in the North Shore. There's a lot of Campanelli ranches. Well, that's great, but you still have to maintain it, and you're typically in a neighborhood of young families, and you're
Right.
not with
Right.
your demographic.
Right.
So the single level living, to have a master bedroom, master bathroom, your laundry facilities.
So
your
you might be
kitchen.
55 and over, but you actually actually looking down the future if you stay there for 20, 25
Exactly.
years.
Instead of selling twice and
Right.
maybe the market not kind
Right.
of cooperating
So is it-
with your timing.
Right.
So is it handicap conducive? Is the hallways bigger?
Yes.
Is
So-
the shower and the bathtubs conducive?
Right. They don't technically have to by zoning
Oh,
perspective,
right.
Yeah.
but it's more of a marketing. So
Right,
I'm
right,
involved with a really great development. These two developers that are out of Boston, and they're doing a project in Ipswich, which does not have a 55 plus, which definitely needs it because for about 15 years, we've had people not wanting to leave the community and not leaving their large colonials that would afford young families to come in and those people to stay in a community that they're dedicated and committed
Yeah.
to.
Right.
But shut the door and then fly down to Florida or wherever your, snowbird destination might be and know that there's other neighbors close by. So typically you'll see a 55 plus that are, a bunch of townhomes, duplexes, or you can see garden style condominiums. So for example, in Reading, there's the Reading Woods and they have a little bit of everything and the price range goes from $300,000 all the way up to like
Right.
$650,000, which is good because if you really don't need that space and you know that's where you want to land and you have the elevator access, it's perfect.
So most of them are condos or, as you say, gardens or townhouses. So there's a bunch of rules and regulations involved.
That's right.
With the 55 and over, there's a couple additional rules.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, can you have, and I guess it, does both spouses have to be 55? I guess it depends on.
No, it depends on the condo documents that you would
Correct.
review.
Right.
But I do want to just back up the Primrose project. It's Primrose Farm in Ipswich. We actually have 4 capes.
you
And
do?
we did
Oh,
it-
that's cool.
Yeah, we have 4 capes, which is nice, but it's still the same type of floor plan.
Okay.
Because those townhouses are essentially drive-in 2-car garage, and then
Wonderful.
you have the ADA compliant walk-up, and then the doorways are also ADA compliant. But so it depends on the condo docs. Typically, what you'll see is that one person must be over the age of
Yes.
55, and if you have a
But again, that's to everyone's point.
Yeah.
You better read those rules and
That's
regulations.
right.
to make
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
well,
no.
as an attorney, as a buyer's
That's where you
agent,
come in.
Ooh,
Right.
so if you're
Yeah.
a 55-year-old and bringing in the 29-year-old wife,
What
wanna
if you
make
have a
sure-
12-year-old
Why?
and
Well,
you're
that's
55?
That's wrong.
That's another.
can't-
That's
yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. They're called age restricted is the real term.
So
in
can
real
any
estate.
kids live in? Depends on the rules and regulations, right?
No kids.
No kids typically in any 55 plus that I know of
Yeah.
nationwide.
What if I have an adult child that hasn't left the nest yet, or like
That's probably
22?
the biggest reason why that's written in there.
Yeah.
So
gotta go.
would you consider a 22-year-old a child or?
Yeah, yeah. And what happens is depending on the condo docs, you can have a 90-day period in total of 12-month time
Okay.
frame. So let's say you have someone that's kind of down on their luck and they just need a 90-day window to get back on their feet. They're getting
Right.
divorced. They got to find an apartment. That's permittable in most documents, and I like to see that because family's family, but it's not designed to be.
Yeah,
a
right.
place
Everybody
we're a
living there.
place for
Right.
the son that can't hold a job
Right.
to
Yeah.
back out at.
This
Yeah.
is great news for my second wife. I just move in, say, give her a coloring book, everything will be fine. You won't even know she's here.
But there are
I just made our guest spit water. I think I'm done.
That's a first.
I think I'm done.
Yeah.
I think I'm
Lay
done.
down.
Thank you.
Lay
That's all I
down,
got.
Tony. Put your head down, honey.
Please hang around for the second show. I'll be over here napping.
Oh my gosh! No,
Just
but there
get
are
her-
some minimal. There's like 30 and there's
Right.
some ages, but it
Good.
can always
Nice
go
to meet-
before if you're like the president of the board. You
Right.
know, if it's a self-run HOA.
I'm sorry. I'm
you
still
can-
thinking of the coloring book.
You can take you as an individual into consideration, and if this is your third
Yeah.
toddler that you're marrying, then that might be an issue.
Tyler.
She'll be of age.
Was Jerry Lee Lewis? Didn't he marry?
Listen.
That was his cousin.
That was a
let's
cousin.
let's
Right,
be
right.
honest.
Yeah.
She'll be of age. She just won't be that bright. if she gets stuck with me,
It's okay.
She's got issues. But that's
Yeah.
people need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you're just trying to do it
I had another
one
great
kid at
idea.
a time,
You know,
right?
I had another great idea for these condos.
Go ahead.
Let's hear it.
What if you put a like a grid system
Uh-huh.
of piping in the ceiling, and then you can just hook people up
And by their pants?
by their, you have you'll be on a belay, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
old
yeah.
people can't fall over.
I think that's a wonderful idea.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God! Someone needs to call Joe
we need to
Lepore.
patent that.
Yeah.
I'll call
Joe needs to see this.
Do you need any patent attorney?
Right, you know,
Now,
okay,
can this bring them right to the kitchen
does.
area?
He
they
does
can
this
go
every week.
everywhere. There'll be a series of things, right? So
Tony.
you go, I'm going to the laundry room, and you hook yourself
So
up.
you got like
All right.
2 hooks on each
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah, but maybe we could do
The Jetsons
the
used to do that.
harness.
The Jetsons used to do that.
I don't want to be hooked
Either
up on
on
my
a-
pants because that might be a little
you can hook
uncomfortable.
yourself
A
up
little
any way
wedgie
you
action.
want.
I would like a little harness so that it would just
Yeah.
pull me
Yeah,
up by the middle of my back.
But now it's an apparatus. I'm just talking about a little loop on the
Tony,
belt.
when you get back from Aruba, we're going to Shark Tank.
Okay. All right. Great. I love it.
So and you have different destinations wherever you want to go.
wherever
I need a
yeah,
CVS run.
This is the pole that
No,
goes
no,
to the
no,
garage.
no. We're
This
not
is
going
the
to
pole that
CVS.
goes to
no,
the
but you'll
thing.
have a CVS on site
Oh,
or
yeah, of
something
course.
like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to take you
Oh,
outside
but no,
your house.
Yeah,
of
that's-
course.
well,
Once
that's
you
what
get-
I'm asking.
Once you get out of your own apartment, we put you in the blow-up balls.
Well, that's
Right.
brings
You
me.
know about
oh,
the
it can
blow-up
roll,
ball.
yeah,
roll, yeah.
So, and if you fall, you
Oh, so
fall
you've
right
heard of
back.
that idea already?
I've seen it, and it's
She
disturbing.
probably heard.
That's Tony's.
She probably heard it on our radio
Yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Probably. But actually, to your point about the CVS, I have to mention that one of the things that's pretty important for people to find the right 55 plus is
Yeah.
to make sure there's resources so that if you can't drive or you're limited on your driving,
Yeah.
that it's close by and not because a lot of developers will
Well,
buy.
we nip that in the bud with the driving. We don't have to worry about
Yeah, no, because we'll have the grid
bubble.
system,
The grid
and
system
then the
and the
bubble.
bubble.
Sure.
Yeah, but on a serious note, some of these developers are getting land real cheap, and it's in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
It doesn't work out.
No,
Right.
and it's
No,
like,
you're still far away from things you need.
right, and then people don't
Right.
want to leave their in-town location
Right.
because they're so close.
But you know, to that point, for real.
No, for real.
For real this time.
Stop
You
laughing.
know, there are all these places now that are building, and they're almost like mini cities.
Well, right.
You know, like
We're
a
talking
Assembly
about
Row
the
and stuff.
villages.
Yeah.
What is that
oh,
we're
yeah,
talking
down in
about?
Florida,
Yeah.
they have it down pat.
Do you know about the
you-
villages?
Oh yeah, that's
Rick's very intrigued.
I have
by
what?
I have five sets of
Yeah.
couples that I know.
You get everything
down
you
there.
need within like a 200-yard
And
area.
you could get a
Evidently, you can get
a
anything
sexually
you need.
transmitted disease. I think that
They're swinging. They're swinging down
I
there.
think
You
that
should
they
see
Not my
have,
couples I
relatives.
met that
Not my
were
Stop
down
it.
there.
I think that they have the highest
Swing rate?
No, sexual transmitted disease rate in the country.
No, sir.
That's what I heard. I think I heard it from my mother. But anyway.
that doesn't sound like gossip coffee talk at all.
No.
No, but did you hear that about the villages? Because I met a couple couples just this year.
Oh yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
They love it. I didn't know it was that.
It's very sexually
Swingsville.
active village.
I think
Maybe you could get your apparatus up top and take care of a lot of things.
I think
Yeah.
the population might skew those figures just
Right.
based on the fact that they're
Right.
bored and they have not a lot to do.
Right. So they
Yeah, you can only play bingo so many hours a day.
I mean, look at
and
college.
then you play naked bingo,
Sure.
and then one thing leads
How is
to
that higher
another.
than a college campus?
Sure.
I know. Well, because they haven't been around long enough. These guys
That's why
have
I was just
lived
surprised by
60
that.
years, right?
Yeah.
So
Twister is out.
Oh,
no,
naked
I don't,
Twister.
Naked
I don't
Twister.
think
Great.
so
You
at
don't
the
think so?
villages. I think that's one of the activities.
Yeah, sure.
Naked Twister.
STDs, not just for kids anymore.
Oh my goodness.
So,
Well, it is
so-
a beneficial thing to look at if that's part of
Sure.
not the swinging or the sexual
No.
transmitted diseses, but
Right.
if you want to have
So it's a good point.
simplicity of
So
But
you
they're
might-
good questions to ask when you're moving in.
is there an on-call doctor 24/7 with a shot of a really good dose of an antibiotic?
What's your supply of penicillin? Before
Or
we
you
go
could
any
just-
further. And what's the deal with the receptionist?
how come
She's gotta
she's walking
walk-
around with my crayon book?
Yeah.
You could ask for their medical history up
sure.
front,
Yeah,
so that you can avoid all of that.
Would you do that?
Sure.
We're going out on a date. Give me your medical history.
Right.
Maybe.
Sure.
My mother
Would
told
you?
me to do that when I went off to college.
And you can put up helpful posters. Have you been tested? We're not talking about hearing.
We're not going to give you any eyesight exams.
Oh my gosh, Tony, you got to use some of this down in Aruba. My
All right. All right.
All right, so back to one of your points there. So it sounds like you really got to look into this community. Maybe rent it for a little bit.
No, that's tough. They're very strict on the.
Oh, no, rent in the neighborhood or location. So maybe to find out.
Oh,
'cause,
sure.
I mean,
if you like the
if you
community.
see something in.
If you're doing a leap from like the Northeast to Florida,
Right.
yeah, no, a lot of my clients that I've sold their homes and they've gone down to find, sometimes it's just not for them.
Right.
But they want a nice little lanai with their pool and their
who wouldn't?
ranch, and
Yeah,
they want to be on a golf course.
Yeah.
One of the things that's interesting is all those golf courses courses are essentially run by the associations that.
So you got to watch out for that.
No, it's a positive thing because they're all vested, so they're not public.
They're all owned,
so
But the membership fees, you got to
No,
look
it's
into
usually just it depends.
Really?
It depends. Like down in Naples, there's a great,
Really?
beautiful properties down there that when you buy in, it's part of your HOA.
Really?
It's not, but then again, my mom and my dad live.
So what's an HOA?
Home Owners Association fee.
Okay.
Yeah, HOA.
And
Thank you.
it's either monthly or annually. And what it does is it takes care of the grounds.
Mm-hmm.
So you might want to find out what it takes care of, right?
Yeah,
Right,
because
and
you're gonna
snow removal
Because if you're
and-
going to have a mortgage and you're not going to, you still for the retirement financial planning part of your housing, you need to factor those fees.
Well, you're going to have
I've seen some people
a mortgage.
HOAs fees like $800-900.
Yeah, that's crazy, and that's a deal breaker for
That's
some
a country
people.
club or some sort of exclusive. But usually you'll see between $350 to $450.
Right.
Some of the condominiums, just regular, probably like $450,000 condos come in with $500 or $600 or $700 in condo fees monthly.
Yeah, and then you have to worry about assessment. So the nice thing about the new developments, you always want to check on the builder, make sure the builder has a good reputation.
So how would you do that?
Well,
website, neighbors, maybe?
Good old-fashioned realtor that knows what they're doing, and they're not trying to push you into a property that you shouldn't be in.
Right.
Period. I mean,
well, you can Google anything.
Yeah,
Google
my motto
anything.
is I'll talk somebody out of a property before I talk them into one. And I think that's the way you continue to have a good reputation. Be like, you know what, I don't see this one for you. And there's also 65 plus. So if you're looking for something with more assisted living, then there's another layer to this. But this is just more 55 plus for financial and estate planning purposes.
Right. And these people. So you can get mortgages on these properties without a problem?
Yeah, and they're pretty fundable based on the condo docs because they're so tight. Mortgage companies.
Some people don't they can get reverse mortgage on something like this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as they have the equity.
The equity to take out, right?
Yeah. But then if you buy something, also you have equity going into your later stages of life. So
my theory, and I've been involved with 55 plus since we started doing some stuff in southern New Hampshire, is that the demand for it will only increase based on the demographic of the
because we're all getting old.
Yeah, and that's kind of why it makes me interested in the elder law and the estate law because it's something that's going to be evolving. I mean, even the tax laws and just talking to a friend who their long-term care insurance is now being rewritten. It's going to double the premium.
Yes.
So
because we're living
they
longer.
can't afford it.
Yeah.
The insurance companies can't afford to maintain them. So everything's going to be evolving. So it's always good to, sit with your real estate when you make that transaction, but also bring in your estate planner at the same time so that, when I just bought my house, I had it all done at the same time.
Right.
Good tips.
Or you could just say the hell with the kids and put it all on red.
Yeah.
Go buy a catamaran. Go buy a catamaran. Screw them.
Kids, I'm living in a Winnebago. Good luck finding me. Here's the keys to nothing.
Maybe we'll
Hopefully our kids will be making more money than us.
I hope
and they can actually take care of us. Right?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
I don't
that
think
way.
we're going to get all these tips today.
Oh my
This
God,
was a
we're way
great show.
over.
Chock full of information.
Good.
Carrie, you were
We can do
great.
it again if you want to.
Thank you for coming
I'd
on.
love to, this is a conversation worth having.
This is great.
Even
Thank
with
you.
me.
Thanks, guys.
Even with me involved.
It's never a dull time. With all
listen,
of you.
know.
if
Thank
you
for
want
having
to,
me.
if you want to come back when I'm not here, it'll be the next couple of weeks, so you can get a lot more
I'd
in.
rather go to Aruba with you.
Please feel free.
Carrie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you,
Carrie
guys,
Cole.
for having
me.
Carrie
Great
Holtshouser, paralegal extraordinaire.
Thanks for having me again.
Tona V.
Fantastic show. Always a
Fantastic,
pleasure.
and you've had your pants on all day.
All
We're
day.
so proud of you. This is Attorney Rick. Thanks for joining us here in the Real Estate House Party.
The views and opinions expressed by the hosts, guests, or callers of this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the Studio 21 Podcast Cafe, the United Podcast Network, its partners, or affiliates.